Hey, this is Jim Craddock giving an update. Today it is Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. I feel lucky to be giving an update as usual. I give thanks every morning when I wake up. I've had, I don't know when my last update was. It's probably a month ago or so. And Overall, pretty good time. Physically, went through a very hard stage with uh, some stomach issues that usually indicate that things are changing, and sure enough, things changed. And so now, basically, what I'm dealing with is a worsening of something that I've dealt with in the last, I don't know, several months. And that's if I walk very much at all, and I mean a few hundred yards during a day, the next day, my legs hurt so much and they burn and they're stiff and I can't bend them very well. So to lift my leg off the ground to put socks on or something is very uncomfortable. But then it has usually if I can remain immobile for a little while, the next day it will go away some and it'll be better. And so on the scale of things, it's not fun and it's definitely getting worse. Yesterday was definitely the worst day yet, and it kind of made me say, okay, time to record a video. But Part of that was the day before I went to Costco and I went to Reesers and I went to work, and work involves a long walk from my car and stairs and then there's walking to their offices and things like that. And it's just too much walking. My body's just not set for it. But I have to go to work today and I'm not really happy about that. But anyway. In other news, I didn't actually fire someone. So someone quit yesterday. This is the third person I've ever had quit on my team. And it's kind of a self-selection thing. You know, I, uh, this person had great technical skills. That just didn't work out with a team. Uh, and so that involves everything other than technical skills, as you can imagine. And I won't go into it, but that was an interesting thing. Really been enjoying my old man band nights on Tuesdays. Had old man band last night with Steve and uh, uh, Benny. Bill wasn't there, but we had a new guy, Adam, and that was very enjoyable. I've been doing karaoke. We found a new place, Hop the Griffin, here in Tulsa, and it's much more intimate and than the place I've been going. It's not really like a I don't know. It's less of a bar and more of a nice kind of place to hang out, like in Cheers or something like that. Uh, anyway, everything's been going well. And, my son is doing awesome at college. Super proud of him. And then the real story, of course, is what you see back here behind me and it's still going on. I'm so happy to be able to see this transition take place. I've been on the Bitcoin train at least a little bit since 2014. In 2017, I started mining Ethereum to buy Bitcoin, and then I just decided, well, screw all this mining stuff, just buy Bitcoin. I didn't have a lot of money to be doing it with, but I would put some in when I had a chance, and I had some in a fund. I think I put here's a great example. In 2018, I put $3,000 in this because you couldn't buy Bitcoin in the United States other than GBTC. And I wanted to diversify, so I bought this European fund somehow. Don't ask me how. It was SEC stopped allowing the United States to purchase it at some point, but I still hold it, and it's up 1,000% since then. So that's $30,000. That's not bad. But the real story, and what will be the story for the I don't know how long, is MicroStrategy. And that's just, I mean, by now, if you're watching this video, I think you're fully aware of who MicroStrategy is and what they are. Uh, the day after Michael Saylor announced that they were going on the Bitcoin standard in 2020, I bought some, and it kind of did whoop, and so I sold, and then when it came back down, I bought some just to because hey, it's a great Bitcoin proxy, and then as it became obvious that they had a business model, I was like, hmm. So I bought some more, and then I watched the earnings call for them about 2.5 weeks ago or something like that. And if you haven't watched this earnings call, it is. I felt that what I compared it to when I watched it was the moment that Apple 1984 commercial. It really says, hey, things are changing. And so basically what you have is a new type of company that nobody really understands how to value because they are this Bitcoin based company, a Bitcoin treasury company, a Bitcoin investment bank, whatever you want to call them. Uh, I mean, other people can emulate them and will do fine. But the key here is that they have the huge moat of the size that they are and everything. They live on the volatility. They can get an endless amount of capital. So basically, they're a flywheel for Bitcoin. And what I see them as is the way that Bitcoin takes over the financial system. And because currently you've got people out there who want it, they can only buy bonds. And so they need a place to do that. And they want high performing bonds. And literally MicroStrategy can give the highest performing bonds in the land. So that is, $130 trillion worth of money. The whole market cap of MicroStrategy when all this started was a couple $1 billion. So it's taken them quite a while to get to the size where they can make themselves felt in the environment, in the world. And now they're, I don't know, $100 billion as of this morning or something like that. I don't know. I mean, it's going up so fast, it's ridiculous. And they are the future of finance, and it still has not memed. Now, yesterday it hit Wall Street bets. Finally, people started posting like huge gains and stuff like that. So I expect it to just take off from here and go into meme status, and I don't know where it can go from there. But I expect to blow off top and then a drop and then straight back up to where it was. I mean, there is no second best really to get into here, and they have a unique model. So yeah, it's going to go too high. I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to go too high. Okay. That's great. I'm going to ride it up there. And if I'm still around, I'm going to sell some. And if I'm not, I'm going to hope that my family has figured out that, hey, at an MNAV of 20, you better be exiting and buying Bitcoin and gold. Okay. And that's what I recommend for everybody is, hey, MicroStrategy is where it's at. But as you get all these profits, you push them off to Bitcoin, okay, and gold. And you need to self-storage some of that Bitcoin because fiat by definition goes to zero. Okay. Bitcoin, MicroStrategy is a black hole. It will take every fiat dollar that gets put into it and it will turn it into a Bitcoin based financial system. Okay. And that has always been the case is that's what was going to happen. There is an inevitability to this. Okay. I mean, we're talking out of the matrix. This is the inevitability of Bitcoin taking over simply because of math. And there are too many people out there that don't get math. And you know what? I kind of looked at it and recently, just yesterday, I was thinking about it, and somebody put a poll up on this. So I'm a member of this irresponsibly long MicroStrategy group, and somebody put a poll up on, okay, I am male, I am female. Okay, 90% of that group is male. Okay. I really think that's the difference in brains. I really think that's like why 80% of computer science majors are men and only 20% are women. I think that there is a difference somehow. Maybe it's chemical, like we get some different chemicals that make us focus on things differently. I don't know what it is. Okay. I'm not saying it's a superiorness. I'm just saying it's a different focus. But what I am saying is that, empirically, you could see that the crypto investors are largely male, and the people who have made it far enough to go down the MicroStrategy hole up to this point are male. And so I think there is some type of advantage there. And I read a book, and I don't know if it was the Fourth Turning or Fourth Turning is Here or The Price of Tomorrow or which book it was, but it talked about how so we are getting more technologically advanced all the time. And as we get more technologically advanced, there is still just the same proportion of people who are really good at that technologically advanced stuff. Like, you've got a bell curve of kind of IQ and skill sets and stuff like that. And you really can't take these people from the bottom of the curve and push them to the top so they can do these technical roles. So as everything, your car, your lawnmower, everything becomes more technical, there's less and less people who are qualified to participate in that part of the economy. And that at some point, there would be a large transfer of wealth to the people who had that ability. And it might be a sudden thing. And I really see that that's what Bitcoin is, I think. I think Bitcoin and a MicroStrategy are going to be a sudden transfer of wealth to the people who were able to have the insight to look into Bitcoin, understand macroeconomics, understand the math, understand, okay, the Fed is this group that is really just there to make profit for bankers, and that fiat is really just a way to tax the average person, okay, and focus all of the money at the upper tier. Now, I'm not saying Bitcoin isn't going to focus money. I do think it will. I think that there are a lot of people who have got in, and these are going to be technically in kind people and stuff like that. And so this is going to be a transfer of wealth because Bitcoin is not going to stop at whatever $94,000 that it is today. Okay, Bitcoin next year it'll probably be 194 or 200. I don't know what it is. Options just came out for the IBIT ETFs yesterday. What I read that there was 80, they were 80% calls on the limit up type stuff. So this is a tail end of the curve that puts a huge gamma squeeze on the market makers. They've got to buy Bitcoin or a Bitcoin proxy in order to hedge the risks of all those options up there. Otherwise, they're just standing out there with their pants down. So, uh, so there's going to be huge buying pressure as because now that there's options, these institutions that have wanted to invest in Bitcoin ETFs, and maybe they stuck their little toe in the water, okay, but it's too volatile. And they can't take the volatility. Somebody's pension fund can't take the volatility. But if they can go in there and buy Bitcoin and put a collar on it for a year out, and they know, okay, this is my risk. My total risk is this. I've got a collar, and it's most likely going to go up, especially if I can look out long enough. And these pension funds, they think in, decades. So they're just going to go out there. They're going to put the longest out collar they can put on it and guarantee themselves a 20% return. And they're going to do a high five because they're going to get 20%. And, they're promising their investors 7%. So that's going to be huge, and there's just to be a huge number of people buying the options. Anyway, so that's kind of where my mind has been lately. I've been kind of working through all of that, and then from a health perspective, I was kind of thinking, Bitcoin is a system, and it's in a system of systems, and I was kind of making that analogy with my body, and I think it really makes sense for this condition that I have. So your body is a system of systems. And you've got your endocrine system and every other system in there. And so that's from a steady state perspective, as a chemical engineer, I can tell you when you've got a system of systems, when you go in there and you poke one thing, there's going to be something else somewhere that kind of makes up for it. And that's the whole concept of this condition I have, is that your body adjusts, okay, and so in my case, 28 years ago, whatever, 29 years ago now, I was in a condition where I was going to die, and I forced my body into this condition where it now adjusts, and basically I kind of threw a new system in there, and that is a fungus, candidiasis, that is older than the human being by far, and it is super complex. It has evolved. It knows, it is programmed as a organism to do things that chemically that almost look like it is aware. And so it reacts to pH and it starts doing this, and it reacts to concentration of different chemicals in your body by doing other things. And so, so really, I think that that's kind of my, brief overview of like what's going on with my body is that I have a system of systems, just like you have a system of systems, except I have another system going on in it that nobody has seen before because it's this iatrogenic addition to the human condition. And it makes me kind of unique and to go through all the things that I'm going through. Uh, anyway, that's kind of like the brainstorm that I had this week about kind of where I'm at with the condition and everything. And it's I've been doing really well. Uh, but like just the last couple of days with the changes in my legs and everything, I definitely have had some hard emotional times just dealing with it again. But at the same time, I kind of have these ecstatic moments, like if I was to log in right now and see that MicroStrategy is up yet another 10% and know that that makes me like half a year's salary. When that happens, that's nice to know. And it's really nice to know that I have that to leave behind for the people in my life, and that if they remain invested in these things, that they should do very well, and that I've really kind of given them a leg up on life, and they can be the people they want to be and not worry about the finances as much, and that's huge. I consider it a huge win, for my life you think of 29 years, and so 2014, so 10 years ago. So two-thirds of the way through that is when I first found Bitcoin, and I wasn't really committed to it. And I've had the chance, and in that time, so from 2014, I had transition it's in 2018, and then again in 2021, and then obviously these last 3 years have been just continuous transitions from one thing to another. And Bitcoin has been one of those things that I can focus on, and I'm completely orange pilled. I see no way that Bitcoin doesn't grow to infinity. And so if Bitcoin grows to infinity, everything else goes to zero, right? You get that, right? So everything fiat related. So paper money is useless. And so uh, everything will be priced in Bitcoin in the end, or pegged to something that's priced to Bitcoin. So, and so where that leaves you is like you got the things you can own are MicroStrategy right now because it's going to the moon. Okay. And then you take that money and you put it in Bitcoin and you put it in gold over time. And now you have things that, especially if you cold storage your Bitcoin, you have things that should, retain their value post a fiat system. And other than that, I mean, my theory on equities is that first Bitcoin sucks all the value out of them because nobody's going to want to own a equity that has a cost of capital that is the return on Bitcoin because they could be investing in Bitcoin instead of doing whatever they're doing with their business and they would get, you know, I don't know, 50% average returns or something like that right now. So nobody wants to own that business because it's only getting a 20% average return. So they're going to put their money in Bitcoin. And so their equity prices are going to go down. Bonds, oh my God. I mean, this is like pure fiat returning 5% or something like that. Nobody wants to own that long term. So they're going to want to own Bitcoin. Uh, so all of those assets go to zero, and you realize if bonds go to zero, that means their interest rates go to infinity. And so there will be a process of interest rates climbing over time. And yeah, short term, they may do some finagling with the interest rates. That they can manage the short-term rates, but all that is fuel to the fire because if people can borrow short term at zero and buy Bitcoin and get 50%, they're going to do it. I mean, why not? It's free money, and you're going to get it back in 2 years. So, uh, yeah, there is no. I don't see a way to avoid this, and I think. I don't think people realize this as close as it is. I think with MicroStrategy here, and he put out Michael Saylor put out a $42 billion plan for 3 years a couple weeks ago. He's already like a third of the way through it. So obviously sandbag. Obviously he's just saying that so that he didn't freak people out when and he gave his earnings call. And then he's just going to do it as fast as he can do it. And once he does it as fast as he can do it, which he is doing, and everybody is now aware of that, uh, people are going to realize, oh crap, he can do that forever. There is no stopping him from raising equity and from raising debt financing. And so they look at the market cap and they say, well, that's a $100 billion company, but why am I not looking at it as if it's a $10 trillion company? Because that's what it is. Uh, and it's more than that. I don't see a limit for it. If there's $113 trillion worth of debt out there that's looking for a better interest rate and MicroStrategy can supply it, I mean, his total addressable market is a minimum of $130 trillion. So, uh, yeah, Bitcoin goes to the moon. And so what that means, like I said, is that all these people who are involved in Bitcoin, they're going to be the new whales. They're going to be the people buying the property and buying the businesses and stuff like that down the road, and they're going to own buildings and I mean the gold, and I mean they're just going to be the people who own everything. And somebody like me, I'm a tiny guy. I don't even have enough to consider that I would be able to retire right now. But what I know is it's going to infinity. So, that's pretty much covers, my family for the rest of their life as long as they hang on to it. So that's why the last thing you sell is your Bitcoin, right? I mean, you just hold on to it because it's going to infinity. Uh, so I don't know what that means long term. I think it's exciting times that people will be living in, that things are going to change a lot. I think, this Trump thing is pretty scary, and they may come after people's Bitcoin at some point. They try to go after people's gold a long time ago, and they could try to come after Bitcoin and stuff too. That's why I recommend diversifying and buying gold and hodling your Bitcoin. Uh, at least some of it, say, for me, it would be okay, probably four tranches. I would have MicroStrategy, and that'd probably be 50% of what I'd hold because honestly, it's going to grow the fastest. And if you have the largest portion and what's going to grow the fastest, and you just say, okay, I'm going to maintain it at 50% and rebalance, then your largest part will be growing and you'll be pushing funds into these other things that are your backup plans. So your backup plans are gold, Bitcoin ETF and Bitcoin, okay, that you hold, on your own self custody. And so, so you go 50% MicroStrategy, and then I don't know, just split up the other three things into like 16% each or whatever, and then just say, okay, that's my ratio forever, and I'm just going to maintain that ratio. And if MicroStrategy starts into a downturn, okay, I would just let that fraction sit. I would never uh, uh, immediately rebalance. Okay, I would let it go down and then I would rebalance. Because I do anticipate blow up tops. So you don't want to be rebalancing on the way down. You want to wait till it gets down to the bottom, and then you can say, okay, yeah, it's down a lot. And now I can start rebalancing and putting more money back into MicroStrategy to make up for its 50% that it's not anymore. So, you know, that's where I'm at. I got to get ready to go to work. I'm going to be late, but that's my update. I'm hoping things go well. I'm hoping there's another one of these updates. I do feel like uh, things are much more immediate Things are much nearer. We've started at the top of my body with the stiffness and everything last year, and we moved into my stomach in February, and then we had a quick shift there, and then much more on my legs. So I don't know what's left. Where do we go after that? But I'm trying to enjoy every day. Enjoy today is literally a version of that is literally my password, and and that's not a password anywhere that you'll be able to hack. Sorry. So uh, anyway, that's it. I love my family. I was super proud of my son. He's doing great at OU, and he's well adjusted, and I know that he is going to go far in life. And my wife has been so strong, and it's great to watch my stepkids growing up and maturing. And my mom has been a rock, and my in-laws are like close friends, and I just feel blessed, and so that's pretty much it. So anyway, this is Jim Craddock, and hey, I've got this weird thing called terminal onset diabetes insipidus with candidiasis major that I gave myself to save myself from something else 29 years ago, and no doctor believes me. And I'm just documenting my journey through the illness. And I'm probably going to make a doctor's appointment here in the near future to get my legs checked out more because the pain has gotten to the point where it's too much if I walk very much at all. So maybe we'll find something out medically. Maybe we won't. I really don't care. But I do want to make every attempt to prove that this thing is real, before I just fall over one day. And uh, that's about it. So, hey, buy Bitcoin, buy MicroStrategy, and have a prosperous life.